Have you ever dreamed of taking one last big trip in your golden years? Maybe a cruise along the Mediterranean or a long-awaited visit to family across the country? After 70, many seniors feel the urge to travel, to explore, reconnect, or simply enjoy the freedom that retirement brings. But what most people don't talk about is this. Traveling after 70 comes with hidden dangers. And they're not just minor inconveniences. For some, a single vacation turned into a life-altering experience, or worse, a medical emergency that could have been avoided. In this episode of Elderly Reflections, we'll walk you through 5 serious risks that every senior should know before packing their bags. These stories aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to inform, empower, and protect. Whether you're planning your first trip in years or just curious about what to watch out for, this is essential wisdom for anyone over 65. So stay with us, because what you don't know about traveling in your senior years could change everything. And before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss future content on senior health, life lessons from the elderly, and more powerful elderly reflections like this one. When we think of travel in our later years, we often imagine peace, joy, and long overdue adventures. After decades of hard work, many seniors finally have the time and resources to see the world, to visit places they once only read about, reconnect with distant family, or simply enjoy the freedom of doing something for themselves. A sunrise over the Grand Canyon, a wine tasting in Tuscany, a cruise through the fjords of Norway. These dreams are real, and they're well-earned. But here's something we rarely talk about, especially not openly. Travel after 70 carries risks that can't be ignored, and sometimes those risks don't show up in brochures or travel agency pitches. They don't show up on your itinerary either. They show up in hospital beds, in missed flights, in pain that lingers long after the luggage is unpacked. They show up in the quiet regret of seniors who whisper, "If I had only known." At Elderly Reflections, we believe in helping you prepare, not scare. This is about wisdom. It's about the life lessons from the elderly who've gone before you and the stories they've lived through. Because while travel can still bring joy after 70, it should never come at the cost of your health, safety, or dignity. Let's begin with the first, and perhaps most frightening, danger. What happens when your body breaks down far from home and there's no hospital nearby? Harold Dawson, 71, had always been a picture of stability. A retired engineer, he kept his days structured, morning walks, balanced meals, regular checkups. So when his wife suggested a Caribbean cruise to celebrate their 45th wedding anniversary, he didn't hesitate. "We deserve this," he said. They boarded the ship with excitement, planning nothing but sunshine and seafood. But by day 4, something felt off. Harold complained of tightness in his chest, a dull pressure he couldn't shake. He thought it might be heartburn from the rich food. That night he collapsed in the bathroom. The ship's infirmary had basic supplies, but no advanced cardiac care. A helicopter evacuation was delayed due to their location at sea. By the time he reached a hospital, 10 hours had passed. He survived, but doctors said the damage to his heart was permanent. He'd need medication, rehab, and would never regain his full strength. "It never crossed my mind that I might not come back the same," Harold later said. "I thought I was still the same man I was at 60, but I wasn't, and I had no idea." This isn't rare. According to the American Heart Association, over 70% of heart-related deaths happen in people over 65. Long flights, disrupted medications, dehydration, and heat can all contribute. Worse, elderly bodies often don't scream, they whisper. By the time you hear the alarm, damage may already be done. That's why senior health experts urge travelers to visit their doctor before every trip, carry a list of medications and conditions, and ensure their travel insurance includes emergency evacuation. Now let's talk about the second danger, not as dramatic, but just as destructive, and that's the slow, invisible toll of travel fatigue. Evelyn Myers, 73, finally flew to Europe. Her children had pitched in to give her the dream vacation she'd been postponing for years. Rome, Florence, Venice. Her itinerary was packed with art, food, and awe. But from the moment she stepped off the plane, she felt different. The overnight flight left her disoriented. The airport lines were long. She didn't sleep. Her legs swelled from sitting. She had trouble navigating the hotel stairs. The next day, Evelyn tried to keep up with the tour group, but her body said no. By day 3, she stayed in her hotel room, missing the things she came to see. "I felt like I aged 10 years in 2 days," she later wrote in her journal. This is the unspoken reality of post-70 travel. Recovery is slower. According to the National Institute on Aging, jet lag lasts longer in seniors, sleep quality is harder to restore, and even minor stressors like delayed meals or crowded buses can lead to exhaustion, immune suppression, and cognitive fog. Most older adults don't account for this. They pack schedules like they did in their 40s, but your energy now has limits, and it demands respect. That's why elderly wisdom says, choose slow travel, build in recovery days, pick comfortable accommodations with elevators, avoid red-eye flights, and most importantly, listen to your body, not the brochure, because fatigue doesn't just take away your energy, it can take away your entire experience. And finally, let's talk about one of the most physically devastating risks of all, the simple fall that changes everything. Helen Moore, age 76, was walking with her grandson in Lisbon when she tripped on an uneven cobblestone. 1 second she was upright, the next she was on the ground, unable to move. Her hip was broken in 3 places. She underwent emergency surgery in a foreign hospital, alone, with no family able to fly over in time. She returned home in a wheelchair. 4 months of rehab followed, and she never regained her full independence. "I wasn't embarrassed," she said. "I was scared. I knew my life had changed, and I couldn't undo it." According to the CDC, 1 in 4 seniors falls every year. And after 70, a broken hip is often more than just a fracture. It can lead to permanent mobility loss, hospitalization, and even early mortality. The problem with travel is that it places seniors in unfamiliar environments. Foreign sidewalks, poorly lit hotel rooms, slippery cruise decks, steps without handrails. Add in fatigue, jet lag, dehydration, and a fall is just one small misstep away. Too many seniors feel ashamed to use walking sticks or ask for help. But pride doesn't protect you from pavement. What does? Planning smarter, wearing proper shoes with non-slip soles, asking for accessible rooms, carrying a cane even if you only need it occasionally, and resting when you need to, not when the tour guide says it's time. These 3 dangers, sudden health events, unshakable exhaustion, and unexpected falls, form what we might call the triangle of risk for senior travelers. But they don't exist to scare you. They exist to remind you you've made it this far because of wisdom, and wisdom doesn't rush. Wisdom prepares. Wisdom protects. In the next part of this video, we'll look at 2 more dangers that don't strike the body directly, but they hit just as hard. The first is infection in unfamiliar environments, and the second is the financial trapdoors that have left some seniors stranded, helpless, and burdened with debt from one simple trip gone wrong. These stories aren't meant to frighten, they're meant to guide. Because that's what Elderly Reflections is all about. Learning from those who've already walked the path and passing on that quiet but powerful insight to someone just a step behind. As we grow older, we learn to prepare. We take our time crossing streets. We double-check the stove before we sleep. We carry extra medication, keep emergency contacts on the fridge, and know how to read our own bodies better than anyone. That's the beauty of aging, awareness. But even the most prepared seniors can be caught off guard, especially in places where the rules are different and the ground beneath your feet isn't home. The next two dangers don't come with loud alarms. They arrive quietly. First, through the body's unseen defenses, and second, through moments of trust that cost far more than money. These are the stories that many seniors wish they had heard before their bags were packed. Let's start with something we all take for granted: our ability to fight off a simple infection. George Simmons, 78, from Wisconsin, had never been out of the country. His daughter surprised him with a trip to Thailand, part of a cultural tour designed for seniors. Temples, museums, quiet boat rides. George was thrilled. "This is the story I'll tell for the rest of my life," he joked at the airport. And for the first few days, it really was that kind of trip. The food was delicious, the people warm, the landscape breathtaking. But on day 5, George began coughing. By day 6, the cough had worsened into a deep, rattling wheeze. The hotel doctor advised rest, but the fever spiked. His breathing became labored. Within 36 hours, George was in a hospital bed, struggling with viral pneumonia, a condition he'd never had before. He recovered, eventually, but the hospital stay cost over $12,000, which his insurance initially refused to cover due to documentation issues. The rest of his trip was canceled. More importantly, George came home shaken. "It's not that I got sick," he said. "It's that I couldn't bounce back the way I used to. That scared me." This isn't a rare story. As we age, our immune systems naturally weaken, a process known as immunosenescence. The body's response to viruses, bacteria, and even mild irritants slows down. What would be a mild cold for a younger person can spiral into pneumonia, dehydration, or systemic infection in a senior, especially in unfamiliar environments. On top of that, seniors often take medications like steroids, blood thinners, or immunosuppressants that make them even more vulnerable. According to the CDC, seniors over 65 are 5 times more likely to be hospitalized for respiratory infections than adults under 50. Add in the germs circulating in airports, crowded tourist buses, local tap water, and raw or unfamiliar foods, and you have a recipe for illness that can escalate quickly. But here's the part most seniors overlook. The signs are subtle: a little nausea, a persistent cough, feeling unusually tired. These signs often get dismissed as jet lag or age, when in fact they're warnings. And by the time seniors seek care abroad, often delayed due to pride, language barriers, or fear of medical costs, the situation may already be serious. That's why elderly wisdom means preparing your body before your bags. Before traveling, schedule a full checkup. Update vaccinations, not just flu or COVID, but also pneumonia, hepatitis A and B, and typhoid, depending on your destination. Pack over-the-counter meds you're familiar with. Stay hydrated. Avoid raw street food. Bring hand sanitizer, especially for public transport. Stick to bottled water and brush your teeth with it in high-risk areas. And don't hesitate to rest a full day if something feels off, because prevention costs pennies, but recovery can cost weeks of your life. Now, let's shift to a danger that doesn't touch your body, but can shake your confidence and finances long after the trip is over. Leonard Price, 80, had been planning his solo return to Spain for over a year. He served there decades ago during his military service and wanted to walk the same streets one last time. A widower, quiet and independent, he wasn't afraid. He had maps printed, a prepaid phone, and cash split between his suitcase and wallet. "I've been through worse," he told his daughter. "I'll be fine." But on his first day in Madrid, while purchasing a metro pass, a young man offered to help translate the kiosk. They chatted briefly. The man walked off smiling. 10 minutes later, Leonard noticed his wallet was gone. Inside, his ID, passport, credit cards, $250 in cash, and his health insurance card. He made it back to the hotel, shaken but calm. 2 days later, he slipped in the hotel shower and dislocated his shoulder. The private hospital wouldn't admit him without identification or upfront payment. With no cards, he had to call his son back home to wire money. The total cost? Nearly $7,000. What hurt Leonard most wasn't the injury. It was the sense of losing control. "I prepared," he said. "I did everything right, but I didn't see that coming." And that's the danger so few seniors anticipate, the ripple effect of being financially and logistically unprepared abroad. Elderly travelers are often targeted, not because they're gullible, but because they're perceived as easier to distract, slower to react, or simply too polite to question someone's intentions. And when something goes wrong, it's not just about being robbed, it's about access to care, to documents, to communication. Add to that the complicated truth that many insurance plans from the US don't cover international care. Some offer reimbursement only, which requires documents most foreign clinics don't even provide. Others exclude emergency evacuation unless explicitly purchased as a premium add-on. Many seniors assume Medicare travels with them. It doesn't. So when something as simple as a missed train or lost bag becomes a cascade of missed connections, missed medication, and mounting costs, the emotional toll is just as damaging as the financial one. So what can you do? The most powerful advice we've heard in all our elderly reflections is this: plan like something will go wrong, and you'll be better off when it doesn't. Make digital and physical copies of all documents, passport, ID, medication list, and insurance policy. Carry a backup credit card in a hidden pouch. Know the location of the nearest hospital in every city you visit. Choose travel insurance that includes emergency medical and evacuation coverage, and read the fine print. Use hotel safes, not your backpack. Avoid flashing cash. And if something feels off, it probably is. Tell someone your full itinerary, even if you're independent. Check in daily with a short message. And don't be afraid to ask for help from staff, embassies, or even fellow travelers. It's not weakness, it's wisdom, the kind that comes with age. Because what we've learned from seniors across the world is this: you can still go, you can still explore, you can still collect beautiful memories. But don't leave your safety and dignity behind just to prove that you can. So we've talked about the risks, the hidden dangers, the things most people don't tell you until it's too late. But now it's time for something else, something more important. What can you do about it? Because if there's one thing we've learned from listening to hundreds of elderly voices across America and Europe, it's this: aging doesn't end your journey. It just asks you to travel differently. Let's start with this truth. Preparation is freedom. The more prepared you are, the freer you are to enjoy the trip. For seniors, that preparation begins with health. Before booking any trip, get a full medical checkup. But don't stop there. Ask your doctor specific questions. Is it safe for me to fly this far? How should I adjust my medication schedule across time zones? What foods or climates should I avoid? Bring a full list of medications, conditions, allergies, and contacts, printed, digital, and translated if necessary. And if you wear hearing aids, dentures, glasses, or use mobility devices, pack backups. These aren't just in case items, these are lifelines. Next, travel slower, not smaller. You don't need to visit 7 countries in 10 days. In fact, the fewer places you visit, the more deeply you'll remember them. Choose destinations that are senior-friendly, flat walkways, easy transit, medical access nearby, and staff who are used to helping older guests. Don't be afraid to request accessible hotel rooms. It's not about limitations, it's about empowerment. The goal isn't to survive the trip. The goal is to enjoy it, at your pace. And here's something that often goes unsaid. Rest is part of the plan. Too many seniors feel pressure to prove they can keep up. But travel isn't a race. Build in buffer days. Don't schedule early morning tours after long flights. If your body says pause, honor that voice. Some of the most peaceful memories come not from museums or monuments, but from sitting quietly on a hotel balcony, sipping tea, watching life unfold slowly in a foreign city. That, too, is travel. Let's talk about safety, not from fear, but from wisdom. Carry 2 copies of all important documents, one with you, one locked in the hotel's safe. Have emergency cash hidden separately from your wallet. Learn a few key phrases in the local language, not just hello and thank you, but I need help and call a doctor. If you're traveling solo, set a daily check-in time with someone you trust. Even a simple, all good today text message can be a lifeline if something goes wrong. Then there's the financial side. Never travel without proper insurance. Not just baggage insurance, not just trip cancellation, but real emergency medical coverage with evacuation. Read the fine print. Make sure pre-existing conditions are covered. If you're unsure, call and ask, because one phone call now could save $50,000 later. And remember, you're not being paranoid, you're being smart. Now, beyond the planning and packing, there's a bigger lesson we've heard time and time again from the elderly community. You must give yourself permission to travel for joy, not for pressure. Too often, seniors feel that a big trip must be epic, worth it, or once in a lifetime. But that kind of pressure steals the joy. You don't have to ride camels in Morocco or hike cliffs in Ireland to make a trip meaningful. If all you want is to sit by the Seine, feed pigeons in Venice, or visit your sister 2 states away, that's enough. Travel isn't about what others expect. It's about what brings peace to your soul. Helen, the 76-year-old who broke her hip in Lisbon, now travels once a year, but differently. She chooses quiet places, hires a local assistant to help her for a few hours a day, and picks hotels with bathtubs she can step into safely. She still sees the world. She just sees it on her terms. George, who was hospitalized in Thailand, didn't give up travel. He now limits his trips to shorter flights, brings a personal air purifier for planes, and chooses tours with built-in medical staff. I still want to see more, he says. I just want to do it smarter. And Leonard, the 80-year-old whose wallet was stolen in Spain, he still tells that story, not with shame, but with a laugh. I learned, he says. Now I use a money belt, and I ask for help before I need it. These are not just travel stories. They're life lessons from the elderly, lessons about listening to your body, about planning without panic, about choosing presence over pride, and about how growing older doesn't mean saying no to adventure. It means saying yes with wisdom. Because here's the truth. You are not too old to travel. You are not too fragile, too late, or too limited. You are experienced. You are thoughtful. You are strong in ways younger people don't yet understand. Your journey may look different now, but it may also be deeper, more meaningful, more inspiring. Not just for you, but for every younger person who watches you step boldly into the world with intention. So go ahead, dream, pack, prepare, plan for setbacks, make peace with slower days, and then take that trip and know that Elderly Reflections walks with you, not just with caution, but with courage. Before we go, we'd love to know, where are you watching from? What's one place you've always dreamed of visiting? And what stopped you until now? If this video helped you in any way, please like, comment, and subscribe to Elderly Reflections. Share it with a parent, a grandparent, or someone you know is planning a trip soon. Sometimes, all it takes is one voice to help another traveler walk a little wiser.